So, hello everyone, this is the channel about engines. Today we're going to assemble this engine. It's a Mandy 2866. So the reason for removing it is a broken crankshaft. Yes, this engine was repaired just 80,000 kilometers ago, but not by me. The person had to run the engine for some time, and driving with a broken crankshaft damaged the block. The block misalignment caused internal scraping, making the block unusable. So, we have a different block and crankshaft. The engine arrived at my shop like this. They brought another block which I have already prepared. I washed and cleaned it here. Now, my task is to chase all the threads, open up the oil channels, check them, also remove the oil and the injectors, inspect, clean, blow them out and so on. Right now, I'll be doing this kind of work to prepare the block. After preparing the block, I'll move on to the cylinder heads, meaning I haven't gotten to the heads yet. They need to go to the surface grinding machine. Reportedly, they were there about 80,000 kilometers ago. But after cleaning this head, we can already see a gasket imprint, so it's not that much money. I think it's around 2,500 to grind all 6 heads. Also, something has already been sent out for repairs by a third-party organization. It's traditionally the fuel pump, injectors, and connecting rods for bushing replacement. I sent those out. Now, I'm showing the footage. First of all, I prepare everything that's going to be repaired by the third-party organization. That's our connecting rods, pump, and injectors. Also, there's one more important point about the pump. These bolts were previously replaced. This one is still the original German bolt, as you can see, but the other was replaced earlier. Actually, there shouldn't be this kind of bolt here. There should be a special bolt for a special key, a tamper-proof one, so that not just anyone can get in and unscrew these bolts. So as we can see the bolt, I will replace the bolt. So, this cover was removed and put back randomly. Yes, if it was put back randomly. Here, under this bolt, we have an oval hole. It's oval, and this cover is aligned on a stand. We have a fixed mark on the pump, and if it's shifted, then you can't set the ignition properly anymore, or you'll have to do it by guesswork. So I wrote to check the mark. I drew an arrow, yes. You definitely need to pay attention and take a close look. You just washed it, blew it out, prepared it as usual. They're going to replace the injector bushings. Clean the injectors with a brush. Looks like the injectors were also repaired, but at the very least you need to check. While the connecting rods are being repaired and everything is already known about the fuel pump. Basically, as I said, the mark is off, they'll set the mark, and as for the plungers, everything is basically fine. The only thing left is just to adjust them. There's a slight mismatch there. They've ordered the parts. We'll have a new piston and liner kit, and we'll also have a new camshaft. As usual, there will be rings, bearings, seals, and so on. So that's it. The block is fully ready. I chased the threads, cleaned all channels, removed the oil jets, washed and blew them out, checked everything. We can start assembling now. Next, I'll work on the cylinder head by removing the valve cover, rocker arms, and the valve keepers from the valves. I've removed the rocker arms from the first head. We can see here that everything was definitely filed down. Yeah, like this. All the bushings are worn out. There's a lot of play. So I don't know. Something will need to be done with the rocker arms. Yeah, so I took it apart. The keepers from one valve on the first cylinder, the exhaust valve. According to the customer, these heads were worked on about 80,000 kilometers ago. But if you look at the condition of the seats, I wouldn't say so. So you can see what kind of pits there are, what kind of carbon deposits and so on. I thought I could just take it apart, replace the valve stem seals, clean it, remove the carbon deposits, and it would be good to go. After all, I'll have to completely rework the valves on the machine and restore the valve face, check the condition of the seats as well. So it's going to be a full scope of work. What happened with the manifold? The studs were all previously replaced, one had a coarse thread and 3 cracked ones had fine threads. The fine ones in principle could have been left, but I looked at them and saw there was already corrosion. The threads weren't complete, the nut was loose and so on. So I decided to replace the studs. I tried to unscrew them, but they wouldn't budge. I went to a welder, he welded nuts on. I tried to unscrew them with the nuts, but that didn't work either. Yes, I broke 2 studs and had to drill them out, but I got it done. I cleaned the threads, installed new studs, put in the gasket, the turbo, and now I just want to install the turbo without doing anything else to it. It was actually replaced not that long ago. Alright, so let's continue. Today I was working on the crankshaft and you just saw some footage of the preparation for it. The connecting rods arrived. As you can see, they're still packed. Haven't been opened yet. I haven't unpacked them. Haven't checked them yet. Also today the fuel equipment arrived. We set it up, set the timing mark. The injectors, as you can see, they're sealed. Today we finished the cylinder heads quickly, all in one day. I also already disassembled the compressor. This compressor came together with the engine block. I decided to take it apart first to see what condition it's in, just to figure things out. So my task is to assemble one compressor out of two, but I think I won't be able to start yet. We can see the bearing insert is in this condition. Yes, there's a lot of wear. There's even a deep scratch here. The shaft is in about the same condition. You can see what shape the journal is in by the end of the day. You can also see that the thrust main shell, let's say, is worn as well. The collar also has this kind of wear. Probably about 0.2 of a millimeter, if not more. So it turns out that, okay, we need to replace it now. The bearing has this much play, as you can probably see from here. Notice how much play it has for the gear. There's a chipped tooth here, along with visible wear. The ridge and scratches are clearly visible. So it turns out we can't use the cylinders from here. And we can't use the sleeves or the pistons either. And we can't use the crankshaft. Basically everything here needs to be replaced, or we could keep the heads, take them apart, clean them, check the valves, and so on. And the housing seems to be in good condition. So I also have a second compressor. This is the compressor from this engine, which was installed on this car. Now I'll take it apart too and see what parts we can use. I just finished disassembling the first compressor, and I want to say that this bolt, which holds the compressor drive gear, yes, I was able to unscrew it with my impact wrench, my new impact wrench. As I was advised in the comments, to increase the pressure, make it higher, not 6 but 8 or 9. I set it to 9 atmospheres. I removed the extension. And with this impact socket, which comes in my set size 24, I easily unscrewed this bolt. So what can I say about this compressor? We can also see wear on the bearings. We can also see scoring. The rings here are a bit better. You can tell it was serviced at some point. I still think we should replace the cylinders and pistons. Both compressors are now disassembled, but only the housings and heads might be worth keeping. Here I'm going to contact the customer to decide on the spare parts. I already have a new camshaft, bushings, bearings and lifters. I have everything except the piston assembly. Tomorrow I'll work on the heads, lap the valves, clean the seats and finish the valves to get the heads ready. Then we'll wait for the piston assembly. new. So the heads are almost ready now, and I'll briefly tell you what has been done. So I cleaned the valves from carbon deposits. Then on the machine I cut the valve face on the intake valves at 30 degrees and on the exhaust valves at 45 degrees. I made the seats narrower. They were very wide, so I made them about 1.5 mm. Then I finished the seats and lapped the valves with paste. So we can see now that each valve has a mark from the seat, right in the middle, just as it should be, about 1.5 mm wide. Everything turned out as it should. Everything is great. I'm prepping the springs, washers, valve stem seals, and assembling the cylinder heads. The cylinder heads are ready. I've set them aside for now and cleared the workbench. While I was working on the heads, the piston kit arrived, so I can start assembling. I've prepared the camshaft, the lifters, the camshaft bushings here, and the gear is already set with the bolts. So I'm starting the assembly. Before this I did the prep work, meaning I've already done most of the preparations. So I unpacked the piston kit, took the pistons out of the sleeves, put everything in place, even cleaned up the packaging. I thought that's it. Now the work will go smoothly. I wasn't filming yet. I thought I'd check the weight first. So these 4 pistons are about the same weight. The difference is literally around 7 or 8 grams, I think. These 2 pistons are almost 90 grams heavier. $90 grams is a lot. I won't be installing them. I put them back in the sleeves. Now I'll pack them in boxes and we'll return them. Order 2 more pistons and see what happens. Honestly, I have no idea how it'll go. So the most frustrating thing is that we ordered from one place. They had 10 pieces in stock, we ordered 6. Usually when you order from a place with a large quantity, they're all from the same batch. And usually they're all the same weight, more or less. Here we ordered, and we can see that 2 of them, you can tell by the casting, maybe they're from a different batch or a different casting. You can see the aluminum is thicker and so on. The most frustrating part is that we ordered them at a higher price. Yes, we could have ordered them individually, like 2 from here, 4 from there. First of all, it would have been cheaper, about 20% cheaper. That's the first thing. And second, in terms of delivery time, we waited for them for more than a week, but we could have ordered them individually in 4 days. It would have been about the same, and we would have saved both money and time. Honestly, I'm pretty deflated right now and I just don't know. Time to get a lot of work done today. I came in on purpose. It's my day off. Saturday and Sunday are ahead. I thought I'd be able to get a lot done. But now with these pistons, honestly, I don't know. I thought that on the machine. Basically, if there's a small weight difference, you could just remove some material from the inside on the machine. But 90 grams, well, 90 grams is a lot. For comparison, I took a piston, from a ZIL compressor, I think, a ZIL compressor, and it weighs 160 grams. So it turns out that's 2/3 of this piston. You have to somehow take that much off this piston. Find a place where you can do it. Well, that's unrealistic. To shave off 90 grams, that's just unrealistic. So, according to the literature, it says that the allowable difference in piston weight is 100 grams, but in practice, I've taken apart engines. For example, one piston was 60 grams lighter, and let's say it was installed on the second journal, the piston that was 60 grams lighter. And when I measured the crankshaft, for example, on these 2 main journals, the 2 main journals that are next to the second cylinder, which was lighter, there was wear, let's say, about 0.05 millimeters, while on the others it was about 0.01 or 0.02, but on these 2 it was 0.05. So in any case, there is an imbalance, and in any case, there is some kind of load in that spot. I could have just put it all back together like that, and honestly, I'm about 90% sure the engine would run and nothing would happen. But, I just can't do that. My conscience won't let me. In any case, I'll try to get all this sorted out. So now, I'm packing these 2 sleeves with pistons back into their packaging, and we're returning them. We've already ordered 2 new ones. So now the question is, which pistons will we get, right? From which batch? What kind of casting they'll have? What their weight will be, and so on. Let me consider what to do next, but I need to install the crankshaft today. And maybe these 4 sleeves, I'll think it over. Alright, so just out of curiosity, I want to weigh the old pistons, the ones that were in this engine. Alright, so we see the heaviest piston is 3,667. The lightest piston is 3,630. So the difference is 37 grams, but not 90 grams, like in our case. Now I'm weighing the 4 pistons we have left on camera, and then we'll look and compare. .45 is the heaviest piston. 38 is the lightest. The difference is 7 grams, well, even less. So I'm using Erling gaskets as usual. I don't use the ones that come in the kit, but I do take the assembly paste from the kit. So I've installed the crankshaft and tightened it in 4 steps. The last step is with a force of 300 Newton meters. Then I put marks across and then turned it 90 degrees so the marks are along. As you can see, the crankshaft turns freely, right? You can sense there's no play and the oil is holding it. And at the same time it turns without any effort. Also there is some axial movement. The 0.15 gauge goes in pretty easily. The 0.20 gauge fits, but it's very tight, so basically everything is perfect, just as it should be. That means the crankshaft is installed. So on Saturday we ordered 2 piston kits. Today is Wednesday and I received them today. I've unpacked and installed them in these 2 liners. I've measured how much they stick out above the cylinder block. Weighed the pistons, and now I want to show everything on camera. So Before this, our two pistons differed in weight by 90 grams. The pistons are the heaviest, 53 grams. The lightest one is 38 grams. So the pistons are installed and tightened. Let's check again that all our marks line up. Yes. So here on the main bearings we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's also check that the numbers on the connecting rod cap and connecting rod match. There's one more thing I want to show. It's very rare to see this in a single engine. So we see the number F996 on the connecting rod and the cap. And if we look at another connecting rod, we have the number F999. So it's very rare to see a difference of just one digit, right? The letters are the same, the numbers too. And on top of that, it's a 6 and a 9, basically a flipped number, a flipped number. In a hurry, for example, you mix up 996 with 999. I've checked all the connecting rods, everything looks good. And we can see that each connecting rod has some play. So I've installed the counterweights and tightened them. Basic, I'm done with the crankshafts. Now I'm checking the timing marks again. We see two lines on the camshaft and a dot on the crankshaft. I also checked how the injector fits into the piston, and we can see that everything is fine. There's clearance everywhere, nothing is sticking out anywhere. That's also an important point to check. I'm done with the crankshaft, and now I'll be installing the side covers, or rather the rear cover and the front cover. I installed and tightened the flywheel housing. As for the housing, here's what was done to it. As usual, I washed and cleaned it, chased all the threads, chased the oil seal, and installed the housing. Next, I'll install the flywheel. The flywheel is unchanged. I removed it, flipped the ring gear, and there's the usual wear on this side at 120-degree intervals. 3 spots on the teeth show wear. So I flipped the ring gear, installed this new thrust washer under the oil seal, and replaced the flywheel bearing. So I installed the flywheel housing, put on the front cover, and now I'm going to close up the oil pan. The oil pan is ready, washed, cleaned, everything here is degreased. The old gasket and all the sealant have been removed. I also prepared the plate, 2 gaskets, the pickup tube, and the pump. The pump will be new, high performance, with the tooth height of 43. Oh, I almost forgot about the pressure relief valve. The pressure relief valve will be new, original from man. New cylinder heads are installed and tightened. Now I'm working on the fuel pump. What was done with it? As I mentioned, it was serviced, not repaired, but sent for inspection. They adjusted it, tweaked the plungers for inconsistency, and set the cover in place. They set the stationary mark on the test bench. For the pump, there's no adjustment here. Just tighten the bolts. Usually, you can rotate the pump housing itself relative to this plate. On this pump, that's not possible. So I adjusted it with these bolts. Yes, I shifted the hub relative to the gear. This pump comes with a template like this, yes. So it was installed like this, and the cover was tightened. Then we take it out and insert it like this. This is how the mark is fixed. So we see the tab is in the middle. Well, you can either check it visually or fix it with this template. Right now, my engine is set to 14 degrees. Here's my mark. So I set the engine as usual. Yes, we turn it clockwise until the intake valve on the first cylinder operates. Once the intake valve operates, we set 14 degrees here, and on the pump, we align the mark in this inspection window, so that I checked the pressure plate. The basket is old, the flywheel is old, the disc is old. The only thing I changed was the feeder. Here I installed various tubes and clamps. Basically, the engine is assembled. We'll have a new compressor, but I took apart 2 compressors. There wasn't much to take from them. It was decided to buy a new compressor. This is a compressor from a Turkish company. I've previously installed a single-cylinder compressor from this company. They offer parts and cylinders to be continued. Так, ну в принципе видим все. The compressor is correct and everything looks good. We use seals to ensure the bolts remain secure. Причины были. So we can see that my engine is fully assembled and already ready for shipping. Painted it, removed all the tape, and have already installed the compressor. The inspector said not to paint the compressor. I've already installed it and moved all hoses and pipes from the old one. Everything's done. Here is the coolant supply, air outlet, air supply, basically everything. I installed the engine on the pallet as usual, made one platform, then the second platform, and here I put clamps. 4 clamps at the corners with wire. So there won't be a startup, there's no time for startup. Basically, I don't know. If the customer sends startup footage, I'll include it. If not, I won't. I'm wrapping up the video here. Thanks for watching, good luck and goodbye.